Hopefully you guys can hear us. Can you please give
Let us
us,
know in the chat.
yes, let us know in the chat when you can hear us, if you can hear us, hopefully. Let's see. Okay.
For everyone who logs into the chat, we'll reveal the secrets of the dental universe.
Of the dental universe. Yes. Okay. So there's a secret code that Chris had already revealed, but you guys couldn't hear it. So, Chris, I
Hey,
think,
they can hear
hi.
you.
Okay, you can hear me. And if you guys can hear me, can you please give us a thumbs up in the chat box? And Chris, what was that amazing deal that you just offered to our group?
Yeah,
Oh, they hear us. Yay.
yay.
Okay.
Being a part of the mastermind group last night and kind of hearing everybody's stories and their highs and lows really kind of took me back because, this is my 20th year in clinical practice this year. And thinking about, the practices that I built and them being fee for service and the challenges I had, I heard a lot of the same struggles, right, that I went through. And I think one of the docs brought it up that I should have documented my journey back then, like you guys are doing now. Because you kind of forget because you're so far past it, right? When you make it to the other side and whatnot. But it really took me back and it reminded me that, especially for startups, that the new patient opportunities are absolutely critical to your success, right? I mean, they're important for any dental practice, but for a startup, it is an absolute. And you can't afford to lose any opportunities, right, on the telephone for whatever the reason, whether it be we just couldn't answer it or we didn't have time to connect and make an appointment or we didn't influence them to show. So that was one of the reasons why I built Golden Goose Scheduling, was to try to help offices recapture those lost opportunities, to answer calls they would have missed and lost anyway, and then influence those patients to show. So we get good quality people in the door. So our normal service runs like $4.99 a month, and then we charge $49 for every new patient scheduled. But our guarantee is that person has to show up for us to charge you that 49 bucks. So if they don't show, we don't charge, which, nobody else in the industry guarantees that stuff. You get charged anytime someone picks up the phone, regardless of what happens. So to try to help you guys out as startups, what I'm going to do, if you mention this, the Making Of group that you're in this community and this live tonight to my Golden Goose Scheduling team, then for your first 3 months, there is no monthly fee. Okay. There is no monthly fee. We have a one-time setup of 267 or 290 or something like that. 199, I think it was. But outside of that, you'll have no monthly rate for the first 3 months, and we'll only charge you the $49 for any patient we schedule on your behalf, but they got to show. Okay. And if you just put us as backup to your team, so if it rings once or twice at your office and if they can't grab it and then it goes to us, that way you at least guarantee that, number one, no opportunity is going to be lost, right? You're going to see that patient in your office. And number two, it'll actually show you, sadly, how many you're missing out on every month. Because I've yet to have an office come on board, even as backup, where we didn't add about 5 or 10 more new patients per month for them. Okay. So imagine if you're spending money in marketing on top of that, the problem just gets worse. So no monthly rate for the first 3 months. Okay. We're only going to charge that per patient scheduled if they show. And for the 3 months after that, that monthly rate is half price. Okay. So we're really trying to discount this, guys, and get it down as low as we can for you so that we can help you get as many of these opportunities before you open your doors for your grand opening. And once those doors have opened in those first 6 months, because it's absolutely critical. And I know one of the questions are going to be, well, what if I'm in the group, but I'm not necessarily a startup? I'm in year 2. Well, guess what? If you mention this tonight, guess what? Nobody's going to ask. It'll be our little secret. Okay. It'll be our little secret. So, but just a little something from the inspiration you guys gave me last night that I can do to try to help you guys out in this community. And I appreciate that. We always love to hear that people love Golden Goose. And if that's never the case, I always tell my clients, make sure that you reach out and tell me, and I will rectify that immediately for my clients. So that's some of the good news and ways that we can help you guys grow, because our telephone issue with answering and scheduling and patients showing, that problem's only getting worse. It's not getting better. So let's stop the bleeding. Let's get the revenue back up with these new patients and get you on a better footing for 2023. So I wanted to try to give you some advice and help on the telephone side. And then on the other big problem I see is on the reactivation side, right? So where did all of our patients go from pre-COVID? Well, this COVID hit and we were shut down for months, and the fear, it was kind of crazy. It really created a new mindset in our patients. And so we started being slammed for 2 years after we opened, but the people coming in were those that used to not come in before. They were what I call our reactive patient mindsets, those that just waited until it was broken and then they went to fix it. Well, they were the first ones back in because they waited too long and then we couldn't help them, right? Because we were shut down. Well, but our normal patients, the people that filled up 80% of our chairs, are proactive mindset people who did the fillings, who did the crowns, who did the cleanings so things didn't get worse. They ghosted us. And even though it's been 2 years and a vaccine and probably 4 vaccine iterations later, they're still ghosting us in many cases. It's still hard to get them back into the door. Okay. So what do, right? How do we handle that? Well, one of the main things you can do to attract these people, not only to attract new patients, but to reactivate a lot of the people that have disappeared on you, is you got to have a dental membership plan. Okay. You got to have one. I still, I give whole half day and full day presentations on why that is the fee for service practice model for tomorrow. That's going to be the most successful. And there's so much psychology behind those things. It creates a new anchor to the practice. So you have a relationship between the doctor and the patient that keeps the patient coming back. Hopefully you have a relationship with the team and the patient that keeps them coming back. But now this creates a third anchor to the practice. I have this membership plan. I prepay for this thing, so to speak. So why would I be attracted by this new shiny dental ad I just got in the mail for a practice across the street when I've already spent my money over here, right? Costco shoppers don't go to Walmart and the Sam's Club, right? And Sam's Club people don't go to Costco because they're already members, so to speak. So it creates another nice anchor to your practice and really is a great vehicle if those of you that are trying to transition from being in network to going out of network. Well, you can use the membership plan because what the patient's focus is on what is coming out of their check every month. You ever thought about that? So pre-COVID, it wasn't a ton of money coming out of their check because their employer subsidized it. They paid for most of it. But after COVID, guess what happened? The employer lost a buttload of cash too. So they're trying to recoup their funds and they know they can't get rid of the insurance altogether or people will revolt. So what do? They just put more of the burden of paying for the thing on the person, on our patients. So in a pre-COVID world, the patient used to pay $30 a month for their insurance plan and the employer paid $60 a month, right? Post-COVID, the employer's paying 30 and the patient's paying 60 a month. Now, how do you think it's going to sound if you talk to them about your dental membership plan, which basically has the same kind of benefits, right? As far as the cleanings, exams, and x-rays. And while they're paying $60 a month, you're only charging them 35. Who sounds better? Right? And just by presenting that, we're seeing a lot of insurance patients transition off of their company plan because they're sick of it. Every year it changes. It's not consistent, right? They're always trying to jump to the cheapest plan, and each year they do, it has worse and worse benefits. But guess what? It doesn't change. Your membership plan. It's consistent, right? Through time. And it is really a good deal for those people. So, I have a company called Dental Membership Direct, and that's what we help doctors do. We help them create their dental membership plan. We help customize it for them so we can make sure it's profitable for their practice, because that's key, right? You shouldn't be losing money with this thing. And we make sure the discounts are appropriate because the good news is the patient's focus isn't on how much of a discount they're getting, just that they're getting a discount, right? So a 10% discount across the board is totally acceptable. You don't have to give away 20, 30, 40% to do these things. So you can make these things profitable. And we offer a service that was simple and will help you bill the patients. If they want to prepay, we got you covered. Or if they do want to pay it out monthly, then we got you covered there as well. So our special there is we've cut the monthly rate in half. See, normally in the past, we would charge a monthly rate and then we would charge you based on every time you brought somebody onto the plan, we would charge you on that side as well. So again, if you mention this tonight, I'm going to help you guys out and I'll give you a good gift. So we're not going to charge you per plan. Okay. You can add as many plans as you want. There'll be no fee, which means guess what? That's all your profit from now to the end of time. Okay. The only thing we're going to do is I've discounted our monthly rate. We're going to lock it in for you for $199 a month. Okay. That's it for life. That's what it'll take to give you the opportunity to create a membership plan, which I'll help you do. uh, each of you individually. Okay, customize it for your office and give you the tools you need to start, and your team the tools they need to start promoting this to your patients, using it to attract new patients, and then now e-blasting that, internal market that to your existing patients, who many of them aren't coming in because they did lose their insurance or stop offering insurance or stop paying for insurance because of COVID, right? Trying to save money. But our culture is so ingrained and is beaten into our head that we have to have insurance to go to the medical professional or the dentist, that when they don't have it, they feel like they can't come to see us,
Right.
right? And that's why they're not coming back. Well, when they now know that, hey, no insurance, I got you covered, I got your back, right? I got something for you. Look at this, and it's only $35 a month. Wow. And they're comparing that to what they're spending, their monthly allowances, you like their monthly expenses and whatnot. Suddenly they're going, man, I can get back to better old health for like $1 a day or just over $1 a day. Man, that's pretty good. Right. And so we can use the membership plan. We're using it with our clients to try to reactivate these people and get 10 or 20 of those back into hygiene every month. Right. So imagine once they come back, there's going to be stuff to find. And what do you think that'll do to the revenue?
How's that? Chris, I have a question for you. So, what do you say to the docs who already say, I already have a membership plan. Why do I need somebody to manage it?
Yeah, good question. I ran my own plan for years with a Google spreadsheet, right? In fact, that's what I wrote my first book on, how to grow your dental membership plan. It's the psychology behind why you need this thing, why it works, how to do your own, and more importantly, who is this really for, and how do you go out and promote and sell it, meaning going to the retirement communities. So you can totally do that. And here's what I usually tell people, okay? If you have limited chair capacity, meaning open chair time, because you guys need to be tracking your open chair time if you're not. So if you've got a ton of open or limited open chair time, let's say you've only got 1 hour of open chair time a day, meaning you might be able to get one new patient in a day, if at that, then you got to be really selective about who's in that chair. You only want the most qualified, highest spending person possible, right? So yeah, that's somebody I'm not going to offer a monthly plan to. But if I'm a startup, or if I've got a ton of open chair time, if I've got 4 or 5, 6 hours of open chair time a day in total between all of my chairs, then I may want to offer both. Because the easiest way to get an existing patient with dental insurance off of that is to show them you offer a monthly plan, as I just mentioned, because that's what they're comparing it to, what's coming out of their monthly check. So for me, it's more about your capacity. If you have no capacity to see people, then yeah, be very selective. Just make them prepay and track it all yourself, because it'll take you years before you crack 100 patients on it. But if you were like me and you understand how to promote this thing, when you get 3,000 patients on your plan, like I had, it gets a little hard to track.
You say 3,000?
Yeah, I had 3,000 between my two offices. Like,
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you're definitely going to be helping Smile & Co. with ours, because I mean, as you know, Chris, and I don't know if some of you guys know, but we got out of network with Delta in September of last year, and now I mean we no longer have that same that same monthly new patient flow that Delta was giving us, that we would have all these adjustments for because they're awful. So now this next phase, like Q1, we're implementing direct mail, and we're working with Patient News.
nice.
And yeah, I'm super excited. We had our call with them yesterday, and then we have a follow-up call with them next month so that we can start planning what is going to go in their mailer. And this is absolutely one thing that I want to go out on blast, the fact
Yeah,
that we have our membership plan. So so I need to get connected with your company so that we can get that situated.
definitely.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's so good. Oh man, it feels so nice to not like to be out of network with Delta, but at
Hmm.
the same time, it's nerve-wracking
Yes.
because
Right.
I mean, in California, I know that not every state is like this, but in California, patients have to pay all up front, and then Delta sends them
Mhm.
the check. Is that
Yep.
how it is in North Carolina too?
It depends on the insurance company.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so give you a story. So when I got out of dental school in 2003, my partner that I joined his practice, he was fee for service, which is what attracted me to it because everybody in Charlotte was in network. And so I asked him, I was like, why are you out of network? And apparently 7 years prior, he dropped every insurance plan, including Delta was his big one, because the insurance companies owed him $450,000 in accounts receivable. So meaning literal stuff that got billed, cleanings, whatever, that they were supposed to pay for, and they hadn't paid. And so he couldn't quite put his finger on why and got pissed off and just dropped them all. But he didn't really message that to his patients appropriately. There's a better way to communicate that so you don't necessarily have to lose anybody. So he lost half his patients that year, right? And so he felt that same pain that you were talking about, and it was worrisome, of course. But he found it interesting that when the end of the year was done, he actually took home the same amount of money that year that he had the previous year. Why? Because those that stayed, the ones with the best relationships, and we talked about this last night, actually, believe it or not, once they've experienced you and they've been anchored to your experience and they go try somebody else, many are going to come back. And now they're going to pay to play. They're going to pay your full rate. Okay. So when those that came back on top of that, right, he was just as profitable. But the good news was he now had so much open chair time capacity that he could fill it with fee for service patients. Before he couldn't have done that. So, I mean, there's always a silver lining, right? That's the silver lining. Now you got capacity to find the right patient to put in that chair, right? Maybe it's a membership plan patient. Maybe it's just a straight up fee for service patient, what have you. Somebody who will pay your full rates and will really appreciate the experience they're going to get at your practice. And that value of that is going to be that anchor that keeps them coming back. If somebody's going to leave me over an insurance thing, then they were not a good fit for our practice to start with. I hate to say it. So I'd rather cut ties, and we talked about this last night, cutting the cancer out when you have to, and finding somebody who's a better connection for us, who we work better with. So, because we're not for everybody, just like you're not. So.
Yes, so true. Do you see a difference between having the membership plan be a monthly versus just paying all up front and then having it auto renew? Have you seen any difference?
The difference I've seen is on the age of the person that likes one versus the other. So my retirees, the active independent living retiree folks, they don't like monthly payments. Okay. So in fact, they are all automatically going to defer and do the prepay option. So what I usually try to do is we'll set a price that's the most expensive, and we're assuming that everybody buys your plan is going to pay monthly. That's why that portion of the plan is more expensive. But if they prepay, then they save. So for an example, like we may say it's $420 for the year, and we're assuming they're going to break it out per month, so it's $35 a month. Or they can prepay for the year, and it's only $365. So prepay and save. And then I like 365 because guess what? That's $1 a day. And that's a great tool in marketing and everything else you can use. For $1 a day, you can get back on the path to better oral health.
I'm stealing that, Chris. That's really good.
I tell everybody to use it because it works.
Yeah, lessen their Starbucks addiction for sure.
Yeah. And what's interesting now, though, but like I said, the working people love the monthly payment option. So again, I'm really focusing, even though I'm offering both, I'm only really promoting the monthly option to the patients with insurance. Right. And I'll mention the plan to the others, and they love the fact that if they prepay for it, they can save. It takes care of itself. So when people have a choice, that's really what it's about. When they have a choice, they're going to pick the thing that's right for them. And the next question I always get is, well, what do you do about people in defaulting? Well, here's a fun fact. So if anybody was ever going to stop paying monthly, right, meaning the masses, you would have expected them to stop paying it when we were shut down during COVID. Because nobody was making any money. Everybody was uncertain about what their future was. It's those kind of scarce moments when you pull everything you got close and you don't want to let go, right? So every penny counts. Not one of our clients had a single patient that canceled during COVID. All of them that were on monthlies kept paying every month. In fact, there was at least 2 of offices that they collected so much money during the shutdown that they didn't qualify for the PPP loan. Because of the revenue it was generating, okay, even though nobody was there, right? So that's what it sold me. I was like, well, if any time they were going to cancel, that was the time, and they didn't. this $20, $30, $35 a month is so far under their radar of perception, it just goes. It goes. And if it's on auto renew, it just goes forever.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just like Planet Fitness. Do you guys have Planet Fitness?
Yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
like $10 a month.
Right.
So it's you just let it ride, even if you don't work out anymore.
That's it.
February 1st.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, Chris, why since we're talking about the membership plan, for those who don't know your story
Mhm.
about your marketing to the retirement community, do
Yeah.
you mind sharing that? Because that was golden.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, of course, it all happened after a trip from Napa. So, I always say great things happen in Napa.
Yes.
Well, the first time I'd gone to Napa Valley, my sister had invited me, and she had been out there with her husband a few years ahead of me and my wife. And so we had just kind of had our aha moment that we like wine, because historically we had drank wine. And so she's like, let's go to Napa. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So, of course, she signed us up for like 12 wineries over 3 days. Okay. We went to two this for the making of, right? I went to 12 in 3 days.
Sounds like a
Okay?
great trip.
And you saw the tasting, right? It's not
Yeah.
like a splash. It's 4 glasses of wine. Okay.
Yes.
And I did that 4 times, 3 days in a row. Okay. So, and of course, their goal is they give you the free wine, the cheese, the experience, and it's this reciprocity move, right? And so they want you to either buy some wine or ideally join their wine club. So, yeah, every time I drank something, I was like, hey, I could drink this. Yeah, let's join the club. So, next thing I know, I get home and I've joined 10 of the 12 wine clubs. 10 of the 12 with really no idea what that meant. So, I like to say the old adage is whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, whatever happens in Napa follows your butt home every month. Like literally crates of wine kept showing up at my house. Crates. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? So I got all this wine sitting around. I'm like, what in the hell am I going to do with all this stuff? And one of my patients, I just happened to be joking about it with her and she in the practice. And she goes, well, have you ever thought about coming out and doing like an educational seminar? Maybe you can use some of your wine on us. And I was like, huh, what do you mean? And she goes, well, I'm in this retirement community down the road. There's 3,500 homes. We're 55 and older, independent. Would you want to come talk to us? And I was like, yeah. Let me think about that. So that was the door in, and it gave me the idea. I was like, well, maybe, these people, they're not traveling like they used to. Maybe they like to go to Napa, but they can't. So that was kind of my tagline. Join me for the top 5 dental issues affecting the aging population and enjoy some of Napa's finest wine on me. And then my headline was, you can't get to Napa, so I'm going to bring Napa to you. Okay. And sure enough, I didn't know if anybody would show. They kind of promoted it internally in the community for me, and we had 60 people at that first event. And I was like, wow, this is packed. Okay, I hope I brought enough wine. Okay, and we had a good event. But the first question I asked everybody was, hey, just curious, no judgment, but how many of you people have been to the dentist in the last year for anything? And only about 10 people in the room raised their hand. And I was like, oof. Okay, well, how many of you have dental insurance? And the 10 people who had been were the ones who raised their hand. And I was like, now I'm putting it together. How many of you would have gone had you had insurance? And sure enough, the other 50 people raised their hand. And I'm like, oh, dang, look at there. When your target market speaks, folks, you got to listen. And I was like, they just told me the barrier that's keeping them from going to see anybody, not just me, anyone. So I left that night and I was like, all right, I got to have a solution for that the next time I come. And over the next month, that's when I came up with the membership plan and the structure of it for my office. And I went back and I asked the same questions that I had another group of 60. And I was like, well, for you 10, guess what? We're going to follow your insurance. We'll maximize it the best we can for you. We'll get you every penny that we could possibly get back for you. But for those of you that don't insurance, look what I got. Okay. And of course, 3,000 patients later. It was quite the move and quite the event. So anytime, that's my favorite kind of marketing. Michael calls it ground marketing. I call it grassroots marketing. When you get back in front of the people, so to speak, and you spread a message to a smaller group, and then they go spread it to everyone in the community on your behalf. Whew, man, there's a lot of power in that.
I'll be doing a lot of retirement community field trips in the next few months, I'm sure.
Oh, if you can get ingrained in any of those communities, you could build
Yes.
2 or 3 practices around them. Okay.
And those are the best patients
They
too.
are. Oh, yeah.
Man.
Because dentistry for them growing up was literally an absolute nightmare,
Mhm.
right? I mean, we're talking about people who, that they didn't get anesthesia for their fillings or whatever because their parents, it was an extra expense. They didn't want to pay for it. So they went without. They just had to get drilled on, and that's what they're used to, right? So with today's modern dentistry and technology and how effortless and painless it can be, I mean, yeah, they value that, right?
Mhm.
And they have the cash to do the full mouth rehabs and to do the big all next implant cases and single arch stuff. And I've done a ton of Invisalign on people 55 and older plus. I mean, you'd be surprised
Yeah.
because again, because they're social, that means aesthetics still apply.
Mm-hmm.
It still matters. So.
Oh, I love that. I hope you guys took notes. And if you have any questions, I mean, Chris is he knows what he's talking about, guys. How many practices did you build at one
4.
point? 4? And then how many employees again did you say last night? Did you have?
Ooh, between all 4, it was probably just shy of about 65, 70 people.
That's a lot of people. And what was your fee for service breakdown? Do you remember for your
What do
practice?
you What do you
Like,
mean, like percentages?
was it half fee for service, half PPOs?
Well, yeah, because since we're at a network, it was like 60-40. 60% had insurance, but we filed it as a courtesy and they waited on the check.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then the other 40% were cash patients.
Nice.
Yeah.
No.
And I've seen that number change over time, right? So the number of people, if you look at the statistics of the number of people with insurance, it's kind of misleading. You got to weed out when they say dental insurance, you got to weed out Medicaid, you got to weed out the HMOs. Like I don't count that stuff, right? But if you look at straight up people that have a PPO plan,
Mm-hmm.
that percentage is going down every year. And it's only at about a third of the nation has that type of insurance right now. And I think it'll bottom out at around 20% before it's all over with. Okay. So it's not going up, it's going down, which means the percentage of those going without is just ripe for the world, right? It's an uncompetitive environment, and most of them aren't going to see anybody because they don't feel like they can. When in actuality, if they knew you had a membership plan, they'd come.
So true. And you guys will ensure that because you work with all the different states, right? In
Oh yeah.
terms so I'm sure you know all the California. I swear, there's so many laws, and I think that's probably one of the questions too for a lot of the people who are watching who don't have a membership plan is because they were once told or they heard it through the grapevine that if you did it and you didn't like cross your T's and dot your I's, you could get into a lot of trouble for promoting something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Washington State, for the most part, is really the only one that really has officially come out and poo-pooed it. Okay, across the and there's two. And when we talk about membership plans, there's 2 different types. Uh, there's a plan that's really everyone. You don't really have control over. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So you're using this plan. You're calling it a membership plan, but you're not allowed to change the fee structure. You're not allowed to change what you charge the patient for the plan. Everybody on that plan is unified, okay, and united, stuck together. That one is heavily regulated in every state, okay, and you need a service that's legitimate for that. And unfortunately, it's just another word for dental insurance. It's just going by a different name. It's a misnomer, in my opinion. But when you're independent, meaning you're creating your own structure, you're creating your own discounts, you're creating your own what you set the price at. That's completely different. Okay. And that is legal in almost every state in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And even if you're afraid of that, well, guess what? If you have in your town, you guys have those little coupon books that the kids come around selling for
Yes.
fundraisers and whatnot, and it's got coupons for every business in it. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, if they are doing that in your town, then there's nothing to say that instead of a membership plan, why don't you sell a coupon book
Hmm.
for $365? And guess what? There's 2 coupons for a free cleaning. There's coupons for free x-rays. there's coupons for 10% off dental treatment. Okay. And you can package it as a coupon book. So, I mean, there's all kinds of ways to skin a cat. And truthfully, there really isn't a lot of legislation to define this because no one's ever done it. Not really.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we can talk about that with everybody on an individual basis. If they're worried, again, bring your concerns. I'm happy to talk it through with you.
I'm really excited. And I mean, Chris, you wrote the book on marketing, literally. And it's like this thick, and I'm still getting into it. But gosh, guys, if you don't have Chris's book, two books, the one
Yep.
with the membership plan, and then this latest one, the marketing, like you're just know so much, Chris. And I'm so glad you're a part of our community. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And for those who are just joining, will you do the overview again of what you're offering to our group, please?
Yes, so it's a two-part offering. So if you need help on the telephones, then, and whether you're an actual startup or not, we're not going to ask, but just mention that you're in the Making Of group. You saw this live tonight to my Golden Goose scheduling team. And if you do that, then outside of the $199 setup fee, that we're not going to charge you a monthly fee for the first 3 months. Okay. For months 4, 5, and 6, that monthly rate is half price. So it really gets the cost down. So really the only thing you're paying for the most part is a $49 per person that we schedule, per new patient that we schedule on your behalf. But the guarantee is they have to show up. If they don't show, then we don't charge you the $49.
Do you, so you guys are on the East Coast. What are your hours of operation?
Yeah, good question. 7 to 7, East Coast to West Coast.
Oh, okay.
And Monday through Saturday.
Oh, nice.
And we're not a 24-hour call center because guess what? New patients don't call you when you're closed. So what we found was when offices are missing new patient opportunities, it's usually 30 minutes before they open, during their lunch hour, and 30 minutes after they've closed.
Okay.
That's kind of, and then everywhere in between, right? So we're open 7 to 7 just to try to cover offices that are open early, that stay open late, that kind of thing.
And you cater to the new patient, not to a returning patient where they don't know who you are and you don't know who they are. And that, I think that's what people get scared about with having a call center. They're not going to know the patient and they're going to lose that connection.
Yes. So, yeah, we siphon them out. So our niche is new patients. We've always done new patients for the last, 7 years now. And we just started, because of COVID, we just started an existing patient service that's separate.
Okay.
And we have recall reactivation as well to help try to reactivate some of your lost people. So we'll get on the phones and track them down for you and get them in the chairs. All of those are add-ons. They can be used individually or bundled together to save. But our niche is new patients. That's what we're known for. Okay. And we send the team everything that we talked about that patient is relayed to your team and communicated, as well as, all the insurance information we need to get for you. So those patients feel connected. My team knows the doctors well. We don't have 20 agents handling one person's office, because that's where you lose that connection, right? We have a core of agents, like 2, 3 agents that handle those accounts to try to keep it more personable. And so they know everything about your office. So it's literally like having 1 or 2 additional front desk team members that know you well sitting at your front desk, but you don't have to pay a full-time person to be there, is really the goal of it.
So it's a very boutique style operation at Golden.
It is. Yeah. I mean, we're not the biggest call center in the country, right? And I'll never claim to be. We've probably got 300 clients, and I'm happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
And we grow organically, like we grow through referrals. We grow. Our number one source of clients, people that tried other call centers and hated it, did not have a good experience, because we're the most expensive, right? And just like a fee-for-service practice, I don't apologize for that, because you get what you pay for. And, to pay my people well, we have the highest conversion rates on new patients in the industry for a reason, right? It's because I pay my people well to do that and to maintain that quality. So, because again, that new patient is too valuable for all of our clients to miss out on.
So, Chris, is it like a phone tree where if the office's phone rings more than twice, then Golden Goose is triggered, or how does that work?
Yes, you can set it up any way you want. Some offices for it's definitely a phone tree. So, hey, thanks for calling Smile & Co. Press 1 for existing patient, press 2 for new.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we separate the bucket out. And then you can set up the call forwarding from there. So you can, during business hours, you can just have us on as backup. So it can ring twice at your office and then forward to us. Or you can set it to go to us directly. Let's say if it's from a marketing tracking number or something like that, if you want to really focus in on those marketing new patient calls. Or, and you could just turn us on back to full time. So we're first in line after hours, right? It's all changing the call forwarding is really all it is.
That is awesome. Oh, I'm excited, especially since we're opening our second location. So,
Definitely.
so
Yes.
the goal is to get as many people like knowing about the second location and then pre-booking before we actually are open. So,
Yep.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, so that's the Golden Goose one. And of course, the Dental Membership Direct, if you need help on the membership plan side of things, okay, it's $199 a month. You're locked in, and that's what we charge you. So every patient you bring in is profit that you get on your plan. Okay.
And you get a dashboard so that you can see all of your patients and
Yep.
okay.
Yep. Yes. And it's really simple to use. Our goal, based on what our clients' feedback was they wanted to be able to onboard a client within 30 seconds to a minute and have them charge their credit card right up front in full or start the monthly billing process, so to speak. So we really tried to make it simple for that reason. There's not a lot of bells and whistles, mostly because those look nice but really don't actually have value that people use, so to speak. But we have a programmer on site, so we are receptive, and obviously every fund we get goes back to our support team, number one. So when our clients try to recommend a feature or something they'd like to see done to the service, we reinvest and try to adapt the program to satisfy that, because we want to make it the most user friendly and best service for doctors out there, because that's what we need.
Agreed. Well, thank you so much for offering our community such awesome specials. You guys, make sure that you mention this Facebook Live and mention the group. Otherwise, you will not be privy to these discounts. So that's a lot. Thank you for your generosity.
You're welcome. And just email me at chris@drphelpshelps.com. So chris@drphelpshelps.com.
Chris at drphelpshelps.com. And I'm sure Colin is going to link everything else too in
Beautiful.
the show notes. All right. And if nobody has any other questions, Chris is he's a major contributor to this group. Make sure to tag him. And yeah, and thank you for your time, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, everyone.